everybody. All right, so it's time for our weekly video, and I thought I would talk to you a little bit about some of the residual topics that have been popping up on our social media this week and coming up on the end of the year. One of the topics that starts to become very prevalent, and we just hear it a lot, whether it be business or personal, that gray area in between that we've all been forced to come to reckon with over the last couple years, is it's the holidays. Things are getting crazy, things are getting busy, and where do we land, right? What tends to go by the wayside? How do we stay in tune? The reality is that we could be facing some hard decisions. And I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram account this week. But if you look at where you're at, let's talk business for just a minute. Where you're at right now, year to date. Maybe you're super excited and you need just a final push to get to the end of the year. Or maybe it's not looking so great and you need to make some hard decisions. Are you going to push for a big goal and make it happen because this is the time of year when, the buying season is beneficial for you? Or do we need to make an assessment of what your goals are and adjust them to get to the end of the year? That's a frustration. That's a very emotional decision that you have to make. And that doesn't always involve being in ownership or leadership. Sometimes for those of us in a sales portfolio, we have those same decisions to make as well. One of the things that I've said to a lot of people over the last couple weeks is we have less than 30-ish, 35-ish selling days in the B2B world left in 2022. And that is just scary because most of you are going, well, Kat, it's only the beginning of November. Well, by the time we take holidays off, weekends, some of our customers start traveling, we're talking about 30 selling days left in the year. So it's not just as clear cut as we would all like it to be. Then add in the family part and all of the things that we want to do, maybe the things we don't want to do when it comes to our family. And it becomes this kind of like jumbled mess, right? So what we're going to talk about today is deciding on the behaviors that serve us well. Again, if you're following us on any kind of social media channel, Instagram, Facebook, it's a little bit on LinkedIn, but this is more on some of our other social channels. You're going to see us running a campaign that's November. So we run November because there's a certain number of things that we need to be able to say no to. And we've got some funny ones on there, like we say no to shoes that make our feet hurt or food that doesn't make us feel good. But there's also things that we should say no to. For example, I said no to networking one-on-one today that I know is not a one-on-one that's going to necessarily pour revenue into me. Now, many of you know I do a ton of give out rather than give in because that's the model that we run. However, we have kind of suspended the need for those right now until we get into the first of the year because that type of networking really isn't beneficial for anybody, not for the other receiving party or for me. We've also done, so we've got some healthcare clients and they are in the middle of open enrollment. We've also given that tip to them, right? So if you're in open enrollment, they're not doing a ton of networking, they're actually in enrollment. You need to decide what is going to be consistent and do well for you. And that's personal and professional. So let's talk about a couple of things. Most of you carry habits bracelets for us. This is where your habits bracelets, if you aren't consistently using them already, should come full force. So if your habits bracelets are, I'm going to walk every day. I have a number of you who walk to clear your brain, get your endorphins moving, sleep better, have more energy, whatever that is, then great. One hand if you do it, one hand if you don't, and swap them back and forth. This can be done for every habit. And remember, the book that coincides with this is A Complete Free World. So, maybe if you need a gift to give to your team or whatnot, that's a great one. But the habits bracelets. And we give these away for free. So if your team needs these, then just shoot me a message and let me know what you need. We'll get you a box off. The other one is our battle books. Now, Some teams use these really well, and some teams say to me later, Kat, we didn't really know what these were. So let's talk about why we have a battle book. We have a battle book for a couple different things. So this is volume 1 of this year's battle book. This has journaling prompts, so you can sit down and really kind of write down what we're talking about or what will jog your memory and get your brain moving in the morning. I encourage you to do this rather than check your social media first. Then we've just got some note pages. But then the other piece in the back of the battle books is our gratitude practice. And these are things that you are grateful for, and then things that you did well, or what we call wins. And you do this twice a day. This is like a 90-second practice every day. And remember, the science behind this is similar to the math concept for young students. If you are great, if you have gratitude, then you can't be anxious. So if you find yourself in this holiday season, waking up, trying to figure out how you're going to get it all done, and you're anxious, and you are anxious before even a cup of coffee, we encourage you to have gratitude first, because that will mitigate the anxiousness off the rip. And then the things that you did well, right? Give yourself some grace and figure out what it is that you did well. Now, none of these are necessarily going to help you get to your goals professionally, or get your Christmas shopping done on time, or make it to your daughter's play on time, or any of those things. However, what we are trying to do is establish what are the items that need to happen, that are true priorities, things that you should say yes to. And then what are the things that you should be saying no to? November, right? What are the things that can go away? Maybe it is the food that you eat that doesn't make you feel good and wants you to go to bed at 3 o'clock because it's daylight savings time. None of us have time to go to bed at 3 o'clock. But figure out what that is, and figure it out now on November 8th rather than on December 23rd, when you are down to 4 selling days and most people are on vacation, and we've got to, Kat, help now, because that might be a little bit harder for me to help you at that point. Figure it out for you, figure it out for your team. And by the way, once you get in with your team, make sure you're having a conversation with them about what they can be doing for their personal lives. So again, that gray area where work and personal come together and create that gray area, that becomes healthy too, because those kinds of people that have figured out that gray area and it's a little bit more defined are the happier employees that come to work for us. So if you need help with any of these, you need some of our supplemental tools, you need help with the planning piece to this, planning workshop coming up in the end of November, habits bracelets, battle books, anything that we can do, we appreciate you being a part of our community, and we're here to help. So in the meantime, we hope you take just a little bit of time to breathe life in, and thanks for being a part of the Oxygen community.